Hey everybody, I wanted to give you a much needed update on my work and what I have been doing. If you have noticed, over the past months, I have been on a sort of hiatus and not creating much content, particularly after finishing the podcast on the Law of One, as I felt a need to find a different direction into the work that I was doing. And for the last 4 or 5 months, I have been very much involved with people who didn't know my work, and they simply are looking for delving deeper in their meditation practice to heal and to go through this process that we call simply liberation, understanding who we are, knowing who we are. And so my work has been kind of refined into this one specific devoted goal that I have, which is to continue to offer guidance and help to people who are going on this path, and particularly the people who have moved away from the desire to immerse themselves in so many other concepts, models, and things of that kind, which was kind of interesting at some point. And in my own path, it stopped being of interest probably 3 years or more already. And I decided to go deeper into this understanding of what we really are, so I can be of best help to anybody that is going on this process. Like I said, this is, well, you probably know that what I focus on is on the direct path, which is the way in which we go straight into who we are and allow that understanding to unfold, because that understanding is all we need, and because it's not a conceptual understanding is what really makes everything effortless, as I call it. So that's in essence what I have been focusing solely. And I wanted to say that because the direction of the content here, and another noted another news that I have is about a community that I am building, and I want you to be part of it, of course. But first, the direction of content here on the channel, my social media, everything is still going to have a little bit of Law of One, because that's something that I'm still doing with the European group and just reading the sessions and going over them. I'm mostly focused, even though there are a lot of filler questions that are not that important to me in the mystical path, I'm still covering it. So those sessions are going to be up here for probably the next year or so. And I think that's most of the work I'm still going to contribute to the Law of One community. Who knows what else will come up, but the vast majority of my content is just going to be that practical part of resolving this one problem that we have, which is still a convincing idea that we live in a separate world as a separate being, and that is the only thing that needs to be corrected. Everything else gets so much more clear after this. That's the clarity of mind we're looking into. And one of the things that I've noticed, and this perhaps describes you, is that I felt when working with people who didn't know my work, and also people who did know my work because they found what I was doing throughout these months in my mentoring program and my group programs, my workshops. And I realized that the vast majority of people, if not everybody, do not have a meditation practice. And that's because there are still some issues in terms of associating what it is to be meditating. And this is one of the first things that I said, this needs to be corrected. There are so many misconceptions about what meditation is, and it really deters and discourages people to get into meditation, which is an essential tool for integrating everything that we're learning. And so I find that because of this, there is a sort of phenomenon in which people are getting saturated with conceptual knowledge and models and all kinds of metaphysical descriptions of reality. And yet the vehicle, the pipeline, let's say, into which this goes, which is meditation, is either non-existent or very narrow. So that's what I started to focus more. And to give you an idea how this unfolds through the direct path, my main things, of course, is that if you do not have a meditation practice, you should have one. And it's not what you think. Literally, it's not what you think. And I want to share something that came up so strongly throughout this month, is that people are meditating because they feel they need to, because it's good for them. This is a problem. We don't meditate because it's good for us. We don't meditate because we need to, because it's part of the spiritual path. We meditate because we love it. And if you don't love it, of course you're not going to do it. So how do we get to love meditating? That's one of the things that I, of course, focus myself with everybody who's going in direct guidance with me, to make sure that that is the underlying reason why people meditate. If you're not meditating for that, then there's no reason to meditate. And I would say don't meditate, because it's just going to exacerbate your discouragement in meditating. And the other aspect that comes out of this is what we call healing generally, because all these traumas, all these ideas that we have in our minds about who we are and our false identities are still very present. So through the direct path, which obviously uses meditation as its only tool to investigate, to go straight into who we are, then through that is that we use the process of letting go, self-acceptance, shadow work, whatever you want to call it. In truth, it is just liberating false identities that we have with the narratives that are playing in our mind over and over again. So this is another part of the process. And lastly, I'm talking about my process and how I guide people, is what I call your dharma, your purpose. Are you doing what you love doing? Why not? Or what you're doing, are you loving it or hating it? Can you love it first? It doesn't have to be this fancy idea that I am doing whatever it is that is good for the world. You got to start by loving what you're doing. Otherwise, you're never going to love what you want to do. So this is something that I covered towards the end of this path, because we first need to get corrected our identity, which allows us to love how to meditate. Effortlessly, we start letting go of all those things that they're not consonant with who we are. We know this. And lastly, we start to create a fertility in our minds. We start to cultivate our mind for this seeds of service to grow. And that's what I go over my whole teaching. So if you're interested in this, I said that I have a free community that you can join, and you can start seeing the whole method process. You can get involved. That's where I'll have my community events, my meditations, and everything else that is helpful here. If you want to help me build it, because it's very new, then I will leave a link in the description here, and that's where you can get, of course, access to the community. Just join, put a post, please. Don't be a lurker there. Just introduce yourself. I don't want this to be a community where just people are ghosting, the posts and everything. Just get involved. You'll see a welcome post there, and free course that is there for you to get into the method as I explain it, and to delve deeper. There are more resources there. So I hope this is something that interests you, and to see you in the community soon. The last thing that I'll say is that, of course, this is the way I help and guide people, and I've been doing it for years already. I kind of intensified and solely dedicated myself to this recently, and that's why I'm changing what I'm changing and creating what I'm creating. So if you feel like you need help or guidance through this process, this is the heart of my work. I'll leave you a link down below also to book a one-on-one call with me if you want to get involved with this teaching, and I'll get to know you, see if we're a fit to work together and to help you through this process. And if it is, then we can discuss how to get you on board on what I'm doing. I hope this is gratefully appreciated by you, because I'm doing it with all my heart. This is what I decide to do for the rest of my life, and I'd like to have you with me there. So check the links down below. Thank you for watching, and expect more videos that are going to go deeper into this understanding in my channel soon. Much love.